Lakad mo lahat sila napapatingin, di mawari, ba't ganun ang nangyayari sa akin? Isang ngiti mo lang parang nagkakabaliw. Ano ba ang ginawa ko? Ako'y naaaliw. Tanaw, tanaw na para bang isang tala sa gitna ng kalawakan. Oh, magandang dilag, puso ko'y yung nabihag. Wala nang dinanais, di kaya kang labit. Oh, magandang dilag. Oh, magandang dilag, puso ko'y nahalina. Wala nang dinanais, biyaya ng langit. Oh, magandang dilag.
DJ Rolly Mar Techno Remix.
Kahit na pilitin pang umiwas-iwas sa'yo, paikot-ikot ka dito sa isipan ko. Wala na nang iba, nag-iisa ka lang, nag-iisang bituin sa kalangitan ko. Oh, tanaw, tanaw na para bang isang tala sa gitna ng kalawakan. Oh, magandang dilag, puso ko'y yung nabihag. Wala nang dinanais, di kaya kang labit. Oh, magandang dilag. Oh, magandang dilag, puso ko'y nahalina. Wala nang dinanais, biyaya ng langit. Oh, magandang dilag.
DJ Rolly Mar Techno Remix.
Magandang gabi po sa ating mga Dabarkads, kabarangay. Ito na naman po inyong Chairman Fred, at ating pong Martes ng gabi na palatuntunan ang Glitz and Glam Show. Okay, at palakpakan natin po. Okay, tutok lang po kayo at bukod po sa marami tayong mga balita ay atin pong tutunghayan ang iba-iba mga happenings po dito sa atin sa Barangay Victoria, Barangay Melbourne. Parami po ng parami ang ating mga events ngayon. So talaga po nakakaaliw po naman, nakakasaya po naman. Marami tayong mapupuntahan at wag lang sanang umulan sa linggo na ito. Sa linggo na ang kauna-unahang public piyestang Pinoy, piyestang Pilipino, Ka-Pinoy Fiesta dyan sa Craigie Burn. Okay, at yan ay sa pamamahala ng ating kabarangay na si Dave Bio Vicente. Bukod sa nurse na, magaling pang basketballista. At of course, nandyan yung ang ating mga Ka-Pinoy na mga entrepreneur. Ay, may-ari ng Ka-Pinoy Filipino Asian Store, Mary Grace. Okay, mabuhay kayo dyan, mabuhay. At okay, siguradong dudumugin naman ng mga kababayan natin at kabarangay from all over Melbourne yung happening dyan sa linggo po, 28-29. Tama ba yun? 28-29 okay, tama po. Sa linggo na po yan. Pero bago po dumating yung linggo, ay makilahok po muna tayo sa celebration ng Australia Day. That Nakakalungkot po at mamaya may ibabalita tayo sa inyo ay itong Australia Day ay dahan-dahan na pong medyo pinapatay ng iba nating mga ka-OC. Pero tayong mga Pinoy, happy pa ho tayo na mag-celebrate ng Australia Day. Ayan, alright. So mabuhay tayo mga Pinoy. Kung ano yung ating kinagisnan na Australia Day na January 26, happy pa tayo na ipag-celebrate yan para meron tayong dahilan para magtipon-tipon at magkainan at magkwentuhan. Okay, talaga pong ang dahilan lang, ang kailangan na po natin ay dahilan. Hindi po natin iniintindi kung ano yung politics behind the event o the public holiday. Basta tayo, merong public holiday, celebrate natin, Queen's birthday, King's birthday. At tuloy-tuloy lang po yan. At gusto nyo, meron pang gawin pang Prince and Princess birthday. Basta may public holiday. Yan, ay panalo na po ang Pinoy. Panalo na ang Pinoy. Gusto nyo, gawin nyo pang mga Prime Minister's birthday pa. Nako, ayos na ayos yan. Dapat sa mga local councils, may ding Mayor's Day. Ayos yan, para may public holiday na localized public holidays. Okay. Anyway, tayo, ipatugtog muna tayo upang bago tayo maihanda natin ang ating mga balita sa iba't ibang dako ng mundo. Okay. At ito po ang ating tugtugin para po sa mga medyo tawag dito, nangangako ng kanilang walang katapusang pag-ibig sa kanilang mga iniirog. Alright, okay. Sana nga naman ay walang katapusan despite yung mga pakunti-kunting pinagdaraanan. Endless love.
My love, there's only you in my life. The only thing that's right.
My first love, your every breath that I take, your every step I make,
And I want to share all my love with you. No one else will do. Your eyes, they tell me how much you care. Oh yes, you will always be my endless love. Two hearts that beat as one. Our lives have just begun.
forever.
Oh, I'll hold you close in my arms. I can't resist your charm.
And love,
Oh love, I'll be a fool for you, I'm sure.
you know I don't mind.
Oh, you know I don't mind, 'cause you mean the world to me. Oh, I know
I
I found in you my endless love.
si Chairman Fred. Okay. Okay, atin ang ipasok po ang ating mga balita. Alright, nasa na yun? Okay, yun. Okay, this time unahin po naman natin ang mga balita buhat dito po sa atin sa barangay o kalakihang Australia po at marami pong happening ngayon dito po sa atin sa Australia. Okay, ito na nga po ang una-unang balita. Bigla pong bumulusok, bigla pong bumagsak po ang napakalakas na ulan na kani-kanina lang po dyan po sa may Geelong. At talaga pong bumaha po sa Geelong dahil nga po dyan sa biglaang pagbagsak ng ulan. At unexpected po yung pagbagsak ng ulan. At okay, at marami pong napinsalang mga ari-arian ng ating mga kabayan na OC. Alright.
A big summer storm has swamped Geelong, leaving homes, businesses and roads underwater. And as we go to air tonight, the same system is moving across Melbourne. Blake Johnson is in Geelong this evening, and Blake, it dumped as much as 24 millimetres in as many minutes.
Pete, it was short and sharp. In fact, you'd hardly know that an hour ago the Princess Highway in Nora Lane was closed because a handful of cars got stuck driving into water that in some cases was up to their bonnets. But those drivers weren't the only ones in Geelong caught out.
Here we go.
A severe thunderstorm in the middle of summer.
Now it is absolutely
Hammering out here.
bucketing down, my friend.
Wild weather common in the country's north at this time of year, lashing Victoria's south. Geelong, first in the firing line.
Oh my God, more thunder.
At a Bell Park childcare centre, water gushed down the driveway. More than 100 children seeking refuge at the back of the building. Nearby, drivers stood little chance.
Car is stopped, water is go the inside the engine and stop.
How quickly did the road flood?
Maybe 10 to 15 minutes.
So much rain in such a short amount of time, drains could not cope. 93 millimetres fell around Geelong, almost 3 times the monthly average in one afternoon. The Corio shopping centre closing, unable to withstand the deluge, and water flooded homes.
That person's house is literally flooded.
Staff at the Sphinx Hotel were fighting a losing battle against Mother Nature.
We managed to save the bistro and the gaming area, but the sports bar, unfortunately, we couldn't save it. We just didn't have enough time to get the sandbags out to stop it coming in. It's devastating for our staff and the business.
Look at the way that wind's blowing, mate. That is
Oh my God.
friggin' incredible.
The winds were damaging too, more than 90 kilometres an hour. The State Emergency Service received more than 100 calls for help in under 5 hours. Most in Norlane and Corio. The threat has now moved to Melbourne. The storm brewing over our city, and it's not over yet.
So this weather is moving from west to east and there's more to come. In fact, it's still spitting rain here in Geelong, but the real focus for the next hour and a half.
Po, kaya pinaalala po natin mga kabarangay natin dyan na Pinoy sa Geelong. Ingat lang po kayo dyan at talaga pong binubuhos ng hindi lang balde-balde kundi drum-drum na tubig po ang bumubuhos dyan sa Geelong. Okay, ayan. Ano ba naman ang nangyayari dyan sa ating panahon? Wild weather po talaga. Ngayon na yung binalita po naman natin kanina tungkol sa Australia Day ay ito po ang balita tungkol sa Australia Day at marami nga po mga council at mga organization ang unti-unti na pong hindi nagse-celebrate ng Australia Day. Napakalungkot po naman na napakalungkot po na na developments po ha. So tignan po natin ang dahilan. Okay.
New at 8 a.m, Australia Day is being quietly cancelled by pubs and clubs ditching celebrations on the national holiday. Today, correspondent Lara Vella is in Sydney for us. Lara, good morning. Support appears to be on the decline.
Yes, Sarah, to celebrate or not to celebrate on the 26th of January, that is the question that more and more Australians are beginning to contemplate as the date, the 26th, is now coming into question and has certainly become a very, very divisive issue, particularly for young Australians. Sarah, you'll note that over recent years we've seen everything from the traditional citizenship ceremonies move to alternative dates. We've also seen traditional Australia Day parties like the one in Melbourne cancelled over recent years. Well, now it seems, Sarah, two watering holes. The pubs are starting to weigh in, including the Clovelly Hotel here in Sydney's East. The licensee has said that on this Australia Day, they will not be flying the traditional Australia Day bunting, nor will they be having the barbecue, because they say the issue has become too divisive and they're trying to reflect the values that are being echoed within the community. And they say that other pubs in the area are also going to be doing the same thing. So, Sarah, we took to the streets of Sydney this morning to ask locals their thoughts.
It's such a sensitive issue and it seems to divide people no matter what you do. I don't personally celebrate Australia Day and put a lot of effort into it.
I think we should change the date. I think it's a bit of a grey area. For me, Australia Day has always been very different. It's my dad's birthday, so I always treat it as a day to celebrate my dad.
So, Carl, interestingly, two different polls on this issue that have been reported this morning are giving very, very different results. We've got one that's been published in News Corp papers this morning that suggests that around 92% of people want to still celebrate Australia Day on the 26th of January. However, we've got another poll that was also detailed in the same.
Kasama na po tayo dyan, mga kabarangay Pinoy.
Only 62% of Australians are in favour of keeping the date to January 26.
The nation is divided indeed, Lara. Thank you.
And certainly one pub here in Sydney that has made headlines this morning is the Clovelly Hotel. They have decided that on the 26th of January, Australia Day, they will no longer be flying the Australian flag bunting, nor will they have the traditional Australian barbecue. And I'm pleased to say that I'm joined by the licensee, the man himself, Dan Murphy. Dan, what's been the community reaction from your decision not to have these so-called traditional celebrations on Australia Day?
Look, since waking up, a few local politicians have contacted in major support of the move. There has been a few rather negative kickback comments, but I feel like the people that are anti this day are often going to be the loudest on these type of topics. But look, at the end of the day, we're a pub, we're not politicians. We're not trying to dictate what people get to do or not to do on their public holiday. If you want to come in and celebrate, come celebrate. If not, by all means, do whatever you'd like to do on the day.
You've described yourself as being like Switzerland. You said you don't want to make this a political issue, but I feel like almost in coming out and talking about it, it has made it political. What do you say to the people that are accusing you of this all being a big publicity stunt? You just want to get the Clovelly Hotel in the headlines.
Look, if a few more people come in for a beer, by all means, that'd be great, but genuinely not a publicity stunt at all. I think it's a conversation that's going to start happening more and more over the next few years, and yeah, I think this is just the start of that.
Brooke, I think it's safe to say that regardless of the day that Australia Day is celebrated on, as long as the beers are cold and they are served on tap, people would be happy.
All right, thanks, Lara.
Oh, absolutely.
Basta malamig lang po ang beer at may barbecue. Ayun. Tayo mga kapinoy po, basta mayroon lang lechon at saka barbecue at saka soft drinks. At paminsan-minsan may konting beer, San Miguel beer. Happy na rin po tayo. Okay, ayan. Kaya kailangan po natin may dahilan na malaki para mag-celebrate. Alright, Australia Day. At ito po ang babala natin sa mga atin pong mga kabarangay na magmamaneho, especially mga long driving at double demerits po ang mangyayari nitong Australia Day. Double demerits po, kaya medyo ingat-ingat lang po tayo sa pagmamaneho. Ito, ayan. Okay, Australia Day weekend.
As another public holiday rolls around, so too will double demerits. Police tonight warning drivers that they'll be out in full force ahead of Australia Day. Let's go live to 9 News reporter Maggie Rayworth at Wahroonga. Maggie, when do they come into effect?
Pete, Operation Australia Day kicks off at midnight tonight. It's a 5-day policing blitz that will see road users who break the law lose double the demerit point. Police say it's a particularly busy time on our roads with Australia Day fast approaching and the school holidays just about wrapped up. Police say more officers will be watching the roads as part of the operation.
The operation will focus clearly on speeding offences, mobile phone offences, drink and drug driving, and motorcycle helmet offences.
Okay, yan po. Delikado. Great. Okay, driving, speeding offenses, using mobile phone while driving, at saka drink driving. Ayan, so doon naman siguro sa drink driving, ibihira naman tayo magkakasala dyan sa drink driving. Yung mobile phone use at saka speeding, yun lang po ang madalas nating medyo nakukumit. Ayan. Okay, ayan. So ingat lang po tayo dyan, mga Dabber Cats at Kabarangay. Kanina po ay isang sikat na bakery dito po sa atin sa Melbourne, dyan sa may northern suburbs, ay nagkagulo po dahil nakita daw po nila si Kanye West na nandito sa Australia. Kasi alam niyo po, yung asawa po ni Kanye West ngayon, yung pong sikat na rapper singer na dating asawa ni Kim Kardashian, ay ngayon po ang asawa niya ay isang Australian. So mukhang inuwi dito ng Australian wife niya at slowly daw na nakita sa isang bakery dyan sa may Coburg ba yan? Oo, at nagkagulo po yung mga tao dyan at nagpuntahan doon sa bakery. Palagay ko gimmick siguro ng bakery yan para dumami pumunta doon. Anyway, tignan po natin kung ano nangyari.
Now the growing calls, this is a much lighter note by the way, to block Kanye West from Australia. Now the growing calls, this is a much lighter note by the way, to block Kanye West from Australia as he prepares to visit with his new Aussie wife and her family. However, rumours this morning he may have already snuck into the country under the cover of darkness. Reports circulating he's been spotted at a popular Melbourne bakery.
Oh yeah, it is popular. Daniel Raji joins us from A1 Bakery in Brunswick, a bakery I know very well, Daniel.
Daniel.
How? Oh God, I can smell it. Just talking about it, I can smell the za'atar. I'm well. How are you?
Good, thanks. The first stop was here at A1, that's correct. No, I'm just joking. That's all the rumour.
What did he order?
He came in for a cheese pie and a Shanklish, his two favourites.
Shanklish, delicious.
Sarah's been telling me all morning about the halloumi pie. Anyway, we'll get onto that in just a second. But how did it all start?
I've heard all about you and the family coming in.
Absolutely, we're there all the time, mate.
It all started when we had... so it all started when we had a customer walk in and just saying that Kanye West was here. And I just thought it was so funny. And then we ended up getting call after call after call. And then I started getting calls from friends and family. I'm like, what's happening here? I honestly must have missed something. So then we jump online and seen a TikTok. A comment, 2 comments, and then 3 comments saying Kanye was in A1. And I started to believe it myself, actually. So that wasn't true, though. It wasn't true.
I think that TikTok video is quite cool. I don't know whether we've got it. We'll try and dig it up. But the lady who did the TikTok also kind of looked a lot like Beyonce.
She kind of did.
It felt like there was Beyonce and Kanye in your bakery, which would have been a hell of a story.
There's a headline.
Oh, we've got it here. Let's have a look.
I want to make a TikTok today because I look like arse and I'm working. But he's in Melbourne and apparently he was at my favourite Lebanese shop in the world, A1 Bakery. If you haven't been to A1 Bakery in either Fairfield or Brunswick, you're missing out. Like of all places Kanye could be in Melbourne, not Crown, not Nobu, but A1 Bakery. Loves the manouche.
The manouche.
The manouche, baby, that's where it's at. And look, I'm obviously very familiar with your delicious pastry options there. But let's enlighten Carl on what is best on the menu. What do you reckon? What should he get when he comes down to A1 Bakery?
The favourites, I would say, are the cheese pies, the spinach and cheese triangles, and the original za'atar pizzas, the oregano base.
And what about
Can't go wrong.
lahbajin, you know, with a bit of lemon, a bit of chilli, the meat pies? Come on.
Stop it.
Honestly, yeah, you might be right there. I do agree. The meat pizza is my favourite. But then again, if you want to go off that menu, there's a chicken wrap that I recommend highly.
Oh, stop it now.
I haven't had that one yet.
I want it all. I want it all. Can you get it to us?
I'll be expecting to.
A1. Hey, Detroit Avenue, as Neil Rice used to say. Thank you, brother, and well done on the Kanye rumours. PR.
No worries, guys. I'll see you.
Extraordinary.
Thank you very much for having me,
All right,
guys.
that's
Thank
what we
you.
need to do.
Oh, yan mukhang mukhang gimmick nga at nagkagulo yung tao, marami nagpuntahan. Talaga po itong social media, no? Talagang napakalakas po itong ating social media, kaya importante po gamitin po natin sa magandang paraan, hindi po sa masamang paraan. Okay, thank you very much. Okay. Social media. Ayun, may drum pa. Okay, at tuloy po tayo sa iba pang mga balita. Okay. Sabi sa inyo, marami po tayong balita dito lang sa palipaligid natin sa Melbourne, sa Victoria, sa Australia. Ngayon naman ay doon po sa mga nais na bumiyahe ng domestic flight ay huwag nyo na pong asahan na bababa ang presyo ng mga domestic airfare. Mabuti na lang po ay bumiyahe na lang po kayo pauwing Pilipinas at medyo pamura po ng pamura ang pamasahe papunta sa Pilipinas para naman ma-share ninyo inyong holiday allowance sa ating mga kabarangay sa Pilipinas. Okay. Ayan, ito po ay kaya medyo mahal po pag bumiyahe kayo ngayon dito sa loob lang ng Australia. Paano ano yan market forces, law of supply and demand.
Travellers are being warned that domestic airfares won't get back to pre-pandemic levels until at least the middle of next year. Even so, some flyers have been surprised by just how eye-watering some one-way fares are.
Chelsea O'Sullivan flew to Melbourne for work yesterday morning and was due to return at midday. But on Saturday, Virgin cancelled that flight and bumped her to a later one.
So then I tried to book with Qantas and it was like $900 and something to get one way from Melbourne to Sydney in the middle of the day yesterday.
But Qantas isn't the only culprit. On Saturday, Chelsea also tried to book an earlier flight with Virgin.
$789 to get one way on Virgin yesterday. And then, you can't pay that for 3 people. Normally my whole team will fly to do an event and we only sent one of us this weekend because it was just, we couldn't justify paying that much money.
Chelsea isn't the only one noticing how much higher airfares have become.
Unfortunately, not very surprised. It's just the way of the world at the moment, where we have incredible demand, particularly in summer and over school holidays and big events like the Australian Open.
That's compounded by a supply issue with lower capacity for both major airlines.
But also, if Australians are paying it, the airlines will charge it.
The airlines say it's always more expensive to book at the last minute because cheaper seats go quickly. They also admit that capacity constraints have lifted fares in the face of booming demand, but they promise that will ease in coming months as they increase the number of seats available. Even so, aviation experts warn airfares won't.
All right, okay, so too hard. Huwag niyo pong asahan na medyo bababa pa yan. Sabi po ay mga next year pa bababa. Nako po, ayun. Ayan, so kaya medyo mag-long drive na lang po kayo. At kaya lang ang petrol, ganun din. Medyo mataas din po. May warning po na baka tumaas pa rin ang petrol. Nako, okay, ngayon naman ay tignan natin itong tungkol naman po sa Medicare natin. Naku, napakahalaga itong Medicare sa atin at mukhang magkakaroon po ng pagbabago na naman ang ating Medicare dito sa Australia. Naku, kumanda po tayo. Alright.
Now, nurses and pharmacists could soon step in for GPs under a radical overhaul of the Medicare system, but doctors say they still need more details on the system shake-up. It comes as fewer and fewer GPs bulk bill, with the rebate not covering practice costs, and that's forcing struggling Aussies to fill up emergency departments because they can't afford the cost of an appointment. The federal government is expected to finalise its report into Medicare within weeks. Joining me now is Vice President of the Australian Medical Association, Dr. Danielle McMullen. Morning to you. Tell us, how will this new system change the way someone is going to visit the GP clinic?
Look, rather than stepping in and replacement that you mentioned, we're really talking more about teamwork, and some of the work that the Strengthening Medicare Task Force has been doing with the Health Minister and government is looking at different ways that we can fund general practice on top of the way you normally see your GP now, adding in some extra funding so that your practice can hire extra nurses or other allied health staff like dietitians and physios to really beef up that team, and particularly for patients with chronic diseases like diabetes or heart disease, we can wrap around and provide that team-based care, all working together so that you've really got the best wraparound care that you need.
Okay, so this is being billed as the biggest shake-up of Medicare basically in history. I'm sitting here, I'm a mum with a sick toddler. How will this change for me? Will it make it easier to see a doctor?
So what we're hoping it will do is increase that variety of care that's available through your GP. For many families, visiting the GP will remain exactly the same. You'll still have that trusted relationship with your GP, go in and see them when you're sick and get that really high quality care that Australians know and deserve. But particularly for people with chronic illnesses, or perhaps some clinics for kids with needing their vaccinations or other health checks, may be able to use their nursing staff more effectively, so that, for example, people with chronic wounds don't need to see the GP every 3 days when they need their dressing changed. They could see the practice nurse instead, and that of course frees up the GP to see that mum and her sick kid.
Okay, so if I need a repeat prescription, because a lot of people fall into this category, and at the moment I have to book an appointment with my doctor just to walk in there for 2 minutes and say I want a repeat prescription. Can I now go to the nurse and bulk bill that?
So repeat prescriptions often actually do have a complex process in our heads of making sure that it's still the most appropriate medication for you. And many clinics actually do have online services for that quick, easy access to your usual GP who knows your health service.
But they still charge you, don't they, a lot of them? That's the issue. A lot of them still charge you, and you have to pay a big gap.
That's likely. There often is a small gap for those online between consultation prescriptions, but there's likely to be a cost for some of the things we're seeing across the country in terms of pharmacy trials or other things. Those are not subsidised by Medicare, or there's out-of-pocket costs for those as well. But what we're talking about here is making sure that then those patients who are known to the usual GP and have nominated that GP really know where their healthcare home is, and there may well be some increased access and flexibility in terms of access for repeat prescriptions or access to the GP when you're acutely unwell. They're talking vaguely because government still hasn't released any of the detail about how any of this is going to work. Right. So we are still postulating possibilities, but it's some of these ideas and principles that the task force worked on. And again, we're talking about a long-term plan here. This is implementing primary care's 10-year plan. So reassuring viewers that tomorrow and next week and next month, things are likely to stay the same, but we're sowing that seed for reform over the next decade.
Yeah, because we certainly do need reform. One of the biggest things people tell us is that gap, because it's hard to find a bulk billing doctor, if that gap is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So when we get more of the details, we'll have you back on. Danielle, thanks for your time.
Okay, ayan po watch this space kung ano po ang mga pagbabago sa ating Medicare. Nako. Okay, yan. Great. Talagang great po. Talagang great po. Okay, at maapektuhan po tayo yan. Maapektuhan po tayo yan dahil baka simulan na nilang mag-charge ng Medicare bawat bisita nyo sa doktor. Nako, kagaya po sa New Zealand. Napag-alaman natin ang sa New Zealand po ay mayroon silang patient counterpart na fees ang pagbubisita po sa kanilang mga family doctor. So wag naman sanang mangyari kaagad dito sa Australia. Sinabi po natin kaagad dahil eventually po talaga pong mangyayari yan. At habang padami po ng padami ang tao dito sa atin sa Australia. Okay, ayan. Ayan. Kaya lang, pag hindi naman dumaming tao rito sa Australia, wala. Lugi, negosyo. Ayan. Okay, anyway, batiin natin muna itong mga ilang mga Dabber Cats natin na ating kasalukuyan pong nakatutok po sa atin. At ayan, nakatutok. Anyway, mamaya na po, patugtog po muna tayo. Patugtog po muna tayo para naman hindi nakakasawa itong ating bali-balita.
O pansinin mo't makasama ka sa di man lahat maibigay sa'yo, ngunit ang
Okay, mahal kita kahit may iba ka ng mahal. Nako, nahirap pala yan. Parang kagaya nung kanta yan ng wag umibig sa boyfriend sa girlfriend ng iba. Wag umibig sa boyfriend ng iba. Wag umibig sa siyota ng iba. Okay, ayan. Okay. Ngayon, ang siyota ngayon, bisexual na po. Kung pwedeng babae, pwedeng lalaki. Okay, naku, nakakahilo na talaga ang mundo natin.
ako'y totoo. Ikaw lamang ang ninanais ko na makapiling sa buong buhay ko. Alam kong ako'y di tinadhana, nabihag ng ika'y makita, kahit na di mo ako pinapansin, ika'y mahal pa rin. Sana'y bigyan mo ng pag-asa, kahit iba ang iyong kasama. Lahat ay gagawin sa'yo, o sinta, pagkat mahal kita. Mahal kita kahit siya ang gusto mo. O pansinin mo't makasama ka sana. Di man lahat maibigay sa iyo, ngunit ang puso ko'y totoo. Ikaw lamang ang ninanais ko
Okay, happy listening. Kasimanwa, Pern Catherine, Bailon, Guna. Pakinig ka lang, okay? Okay, ganun din ating Dabarkad, si Agnes Misola. Keep on listening, Agnes. Okay.
Mahal kita kahit siya ang gusto mo. O pansinin mo't magkasama ka sana. Di man lahat maibigay sa iyo, ngunit ang puso ko'y totoo. Ikaw lamang ang ninanais ko.
Okay, also, Tita Neds, Sarsi Puedes, yan, okay, medyo excited po yan at malapit-lapit ng lilipad. Okay, yan, di ko nasasabihin sa inyo kung saan lilipad ko, ano pong sasakyan at o eroplano o walis ang sasakyan. Okay, okay, biro lang, joke lang, Tita Neds, alright, okay.
Sa buong buhay ko, ikaw lamang ang ninanais ko na makapiling. Sa buong buhay ko, ikaw lamang ang ninanais.
Okay, ganun din ang presidente ng Bulanon Bohol Association of Victoria, Jerome Hinog. Ayan, mayroon po tayong maririnig na happening from the Boholano Association this year. Ha? Okay, we're looking for that, Jerome. Okay, ayan.
Sa buong buhay ko.
Alright, okay, tuloy po muna natin ang ating mga balita. Marami pa po tayo nakapending na balita. Baka maubusan tayo ng oras. Okay, napakarami kasi balita eh. Ito namang, hindi, yung iba na, wag na natin basahin itong iba. At ito po yung tungkol doon sa mass shooting sa California. Dahil mahalaga po ito. Balita po natin ay may nadamay po na isang kabarangay natin, Filipino-American.
It's one of California's worst mass murders. A gunman opening fire during Lunar New Year celebrations, killing 10 people. Police are still trying to identify the victims and establish a motive for the shooting.
This is America's latest mass murderer, 72-year-old Hucan Tran.
The suspect responsible for this tragedy is no longer a threat.
The rampage ending with him taking his own life inside this van. Heavily armed SWAT had surrounded it in a car park south of Los Angeles more than 12 hours after Tran shot 20 people, killing 10.
Very shocking and overwhelming.
Police say late last night he entered the Stardance studio near downtown LA armed with a semi-automatic pistol and a magazine of ammunition, opening fire in a ballroom during Lunar New Year celebrations.
I got 3 immediates in here and I got approximately 10 deceased.
Then he went to another club where he was tackled by 2 people.
They saved lives. This could have been much worse.
Tran fled in a van and was on the run until this morning. The local Asian American community was reeling, asking how and why one of them would turn on their own.
The people, once upset, they bring a gun to killing people.
Jealousy and domestic violence has not been ruled out. Investigators are still trying to identify victims. The dance studio massacre is the worst in Los Angeles in 15 years. It is one of the deadliest in California's modern history and has claimed more lives than any other mass shooting so far in the United States this year. Once again, the community and families reeling from the consequences of gun violence.
All of us in this room.
Nakikiramay po tayo sa mga mahal sa buhay, mga naulila po ng mga biktima. Okay, at talaga pong iyan po ang nakakalungkot at medyo pasalamat po tayo dito sa ating Barangay Australia at hindi po basta-basta nakakakuha ng baril ang mga tao rito, mga ordinaryong mamamayan. Ang meron lang pong baril dito ay mga may kapangyarihan o kaya ay mga masasamang loob. Ayan, mga outlaws, mga law enforcers at saka mga outlaws. Ayan, kaya kailangan ingat na lang po tayo mga peace-loving citizens. Alright. Okay, so ito ngayon naman po natin ang balita buhat sa atin sa Pilipinas at baka talaga maubusan tayo. Marami din ng happening sa Pilipinas. Okay, at ito po ang mga happening natin mula sa Pilipinas. Okay, at yun po sa Malacanang ay sa unang 7 buwan ni Pangulong BBM ay hindi pala, report po ito ng mga journalist, ng mga observers. In his first 18 months in office, Pangulong BBM ay nakapagbiyahe na po ng 9 na beses sa 8 bansa at sa loob po ng 7 buwan ng kanyang panunungkulang bilang Pangulo ng Pilipinas. Ayan. Siyempre medyo masipag po, talagang trabaho po yan. Alam niyo, pagbibiyahe, hindi lang po yan sightseeing sa mga kategory ng mga heads of state. Trabaho po yan. Okay, so wag po kayong magkamali na isipin po na nag-good time lang si PBBM at trabaho po yan. Nakikipag-usap po siya sa lahat ng mga heads of state sa mga bansang pinapasyalan niya. So it is a part of the work of the President is makipagpulong at makipag-usap sa ibang bansa, sa ibang mga pinuno ng ibang bansa. Okay, at pagkatapos naman ay ayun po ang pinapanukalang Maharlika Wealth Fund ay meron pong konti na namang pagbabago. Ayan, meron na namang edition, may editing na naman at dating panukala po ay kukuha po ng pera mula sa mga government-owned or controlled corporation. Ngayon po ay medyo binago na naman po ang Maharlika Fund at purely na po na manggagaling na lang po sa public offering. Ayan, private businesses at saka public offering. Ayan, nako. Hopefully naman sana ay makaabot po dito sa atin ang Maharlika Wealth Fund upang tayo po ay makatulong sa pagbangon ng ating bansa. Ayan. Okay. Ano ba naman yung maski na tigwa $100 po na worth ng Maharlika Wealth Fund ay makabili po tayo. Pag naipon po yan, marami-rami na rin po yan. Okay, ayan. Okay. Kailangan po talagang tulong-tulong po tayo. Hoy, bakit ba napunta yun? Hindi yun. Yung dapat palakpak. Alright. Okay, so sumunod naman. Yun naman po yun naman sa hepe ng Philippine National Police na si General Rodolfo Azurin Jr. Sinabi po niya na yung na i-report na harassment ng onion farmer o yung magsasaka na nagtatanim ng sibuyas na halagang ginto na po ngayon ay misunderstanding lang po yun. Ayan, okay. Hindi po talaga tunay na hinaharas po sila dahil po sa kanilang pagtatanim ng sibuyas. Dapat pa nga tulungan po sila sa kanilang pagtatanim ng sibuyas. Okay, ayan. Okay, Acting Prisons Chief naman, Gregorio Cotapang, ay na talaga na po bilang permanenteng hepe ng Bureau of Corrections o Bucor. Subalit, kasama po doon ay kaakibat po doon ay ang mga problema at suliranin ng Muntinlupa o ng New Bilibid Prisons. Okay, great. So, okay. Good luck, General Katapang. Kaya mo yan. Matapang ka naman. Ha? Okay. Okay. At ano ba, susunod naman ay ang Philippine Nurses Association po nung Lunes ay nabahala dahil po sa sinasabing pirate o hindi po kidnapping, pirating ng mga Filipino nursing students by some European countries, hindi na graduate nurse kundi nursing student na po. Ay, maganda at masamang balita ito. Magandang balita para sa mga ating mga batang nurses. Okay. Subalit, yung mga nurses naman po sa ibang bansa, kagaya ng UK, Britain, ay sila po ay sinisisi po nila ang kanilang pamahalaan dahil hindi po naghanda ng matagal upang mahikayat ang kanilang mga sariling mamamayan na kumuha po ng nursing. Ay, alam niyo naman, mahirap po ang nursing pag hindi po kayo sanay dyan. So, yung kanilang mga mamamayan doon, yung mga kabataan po nila, ayaw po ng ganyang trabaho. Dahil mahirap po. Maski na mataas ang sweldo, ayaw po ng ganyang trabaho. Gusto nila yung madaling trabaho, yung parating silang naka-good time. Samantalang ang mga Filipino nurses po, ay talagang sasabak po sa ganyang trabaho, lalo na pag nakita pong mataas po ang palitan ng British pounds. Ayan, okay. Okay, nako, British pound, US dollar, Australian dollar. Ayan, nako, talaga pong okay, wag yan, mga great. Ayan, palakpak po dapat. Okay, so magandang balita po yan para sa ating mga kabataang nurses. Estudyante pa lang sila, medyo i-recruit na sila. Magandang balita, hindi na sila gagastos, hindi na sila gagastusan ng mga magulang nila. Okay, ayan. Okay. Sa susunod naman, ito po naman ang pahayag ni Pangulong BBM. Nung Lunes po, nagsabi po siya na hindi po siya nakakatulog. Ayan, naku, hindi po siya nakakatulog. Okay. Habang iniisip po niya ang malakas o mabilis na inflation sa ating bayan sa Pilipinas at kung paano po na mahatak ang Pilipinas mula sa kasalukuyang utang po nito na 13.6 trillion pesos. Naku, Diyos ko po. Ayan. Too hard. Okay. Bale, ano po yan? Pagtutulong-tulungan po nating lahat ng mga kabarangay Pilipinas. Alright. 34 million Filipinos po ang bumoto kay BBM. Ayan. Maski mag-ano na lang po yung 34 million. Palagay natin, tagwa 1,000 pesos. Naku. Pwede na, oo. Magkano na naman yung 1,000 pesos pag sa Pilipinas. Pag sa abroad po, nasa abroad, $1,000. Ayan. Okay, $1,000 o 1,000 pounds. Malaki-laki pong tulong yun sa Pilipinas. Okay, ayan. Okay, at ito naman. Ayon po sa Globe Telecom, noong Martes, nagpahayag po sila na nakapag-block na po sila ng 2.72 billion scam at saka spam messages noong 2022. Ayan. At ito po doble nung kanilang na-block na mga scam noong 2021 na 1.15 billion lamang po. Ayan, mabuhay kayo. Mabuhay kayo, Globe Telecom. Mabuti talaga yan. At ito po ang dahilan yan. Ang SIM card po ay ang mga naibebenta pong SIM card ngayon ay bumaba na po mula nung ipatupad ang mandatory o compulsory registration ng SIM card. Ayan. Yun po sa DICT o Department of Information Communication Technology. Noong araw po, 10-10 yung telephone number ng ibang tao dyan. Okay, 10-10. Isang telephone number para sa kanilang trabaho, isang telephone number para sa misis niya, isang 5 telephone number para sa girlfriend niya. Yan, kaya po maraming telephone number. Okay, yan. So ngayon hindi na po siya basta-basta makakabili niya dahil marami pong i-require at pag dumami po yung SIM card na binibili niya, medyo red flag na po yan sa mga otoridad. Okay. Okay, ito naman. Ang Philippine Amusement and Gaming Corporation ay inusisa po ngayon ng Kongreso dahil po sa kanyang kapabayaan sa pag-manage nitong mga pogo, hindi si pugo, ang pogo po ang hindi niya na manage o Philippine Offshore Gaming Operations. Ayan. Sinasabi po na meron pong conflict of interest ang PAGCOR bilang pagre-regulate ng pogo sector. Ayan. Okay. Ayan. Okay. Ngayon naman, Senator Mark Villar ay bibigyan po sana ng honorary degree ng University of the Philippines. Okay. Subalit, ito po ay hindi pinayagan, hindi tinutulan po ito ng Student Council ng UP University of the Philippines. Okay. Yan. Hindi naman po natin alamin kung bakit. Okay, basta ayaw nilang bigyan si Mark Villar ng honorary degree. Ewan ko kung saan po graduate si Mark Villar. Okay, senador na po ngayon. Okay. Dumako naman po tayo sa ibang bansa at ito po ang balita buhat doon sa ibang bansa. Kaya nasa na yung ating music? Ang layo kasi itong music na sa ibang bansa naman po, kagaya po ng sinabi natin kanina, ay isa pong may edad na Asian American. Ayan po, Asian American ay kumitil po ng 10 katao. Ayan, noong pong habang nag-celebrate po ng Lunar New Year nung linggo po sa isang dance hall sa California. Ayan, ini-examine po nila ang motibo at subalit medyo lumalabas po na pagsiselos o personal dispute po ang nangyari. Unfortunately po, ay isa pong kababayan natin, isang Filipino-American, isa doon sa mga napatay o nasawi doon po sa Monterey Park Lunar New Year Party nung Sabado po ng gabi. Okay. Okay, mahirap po talaga yan. Ngayon naman, ito naman, yun sa Microsoft, sila po ay nakikipagtulungan, nakikipagpartner po sa Open AI o Artificial Intelligence. Ito po ang research lab na gumawa po nitong bagong platform, itong ChatGPT. Isa pong artificial intelligent chatbot at pinangangambahan ng karamihan po na maaring gamitin po ng mga estudyante o mga mag-aaral upang mangopya at mandaya po sa kanilang exam. Ayan. Ayan, patay. Okay, so buti na lang nung araw, talagang kayod po tayo pag-aaral. Talagang Kailangan talaga magbasa ng husto at ma-memorize po yung mga formula para mapasa natin po yung mga technical subjects naman. Okay? At kailangan sumulat po ng mga composition naman pagka nire-require ng composition. Okay? Ngayon, easy na lang po tayong magbilang ng kwarta. Wala namang masyadong bibilangin. Okay? Okay, at pwede po tayong gumawa ng ating mga script at articles para sa ating radio show. Okay, at wala pong tulong-tulong na chatbot nung araw. Wala pong computer nung araw. Okay, ayan to. Ngayon naman, ito po ang isang nakakabahala at tinataya po ng mga scientifico na ang parang core po. Alam niyo yung ating planeta, napakalaki po niyan na sa loob po niyan, mga ilang kilometro sa ilalim ng ating paa, meron po yung nagbabagang core. Mainit pa ho yan dahil nagsimula po ang planeta natin ng isang apoy at saka mainit na gas. Ang tinutungtungan po natin ngayon ay malamig na po, lumamig na ng mga na mga gas at saka mga material kaya naging lupa na po. Subalit sa loob po ng ating planeta ay hindi pa ho lumalamig ang apoy doon at sabi po tinataya po ng mga scientifico na yung pong core ng ating planeta ay mukhang nag-iba po ng direksyon. Iba po ang rotation. So ang loob ang labas po ng ating planeta ay nagro-rotate po from west to east. Ayan, okay. Nagro-rotate ito kaya umaakyat po ang araw, sumisikat pong araw sa east. Ayan, at lumulubog naman sa west dahil west to east po ang rotation natin. Ngayon, yung rotation siguro doon sa loob ng kalagitnaan ng ating planeta ay baka nagbago, gumawang north to south. Naku, nakakabahala po yan, nakakabahala. At maaring yan po ang dahilan kung bakit nagwawala po yung mga bulkan at saka mga ilalim po ng lupa natin. Ayan, so aalamin po ho ng mga scientifico yan. Ito po ay magandang balita naman sa relasyon ng mga Arabo at saka ng mga Israeli. Ayan. Nagpahayag po ang United Arab Emirates na sila daw ngayon ay ituturo na po nila sa kanilang mga paaralan, sa kanilang mga estudyante ang tungkol po sa nakakalungkot na pangyayari sa naging Holocaust ng mga Hudyo noong pangalawang digmaang pandaigdig. Ayan. Nangangahulugan po yan na nire-recognize po ng mga taga UAE ang istorya po ng Holocaust. Ayan. At ituturo na po nila sa kanilang mga estudyante. Alright, mabuhay po. At this is a good signal for the relationship ng mga United Arabs and the Israelis. Ayan. Sabalit, malungkot na balita po para sa ating isang kababayan sa Kuwait. Natagpuan pong patay at nasunog po sa disyerto ang isang kababayan natin. At ito po ay kinukumpirma pa ho. Hindi pala kinukumpirma, talaga pong kinukundina ng Department of Migrant Worker. Ayan, hindi pa ho naiimbestigahan ng mga autoridad kung sino at ano po ang sirkumstansya ng pagkamatay po ng isa nating OFW. Nakikiramay po tayo sa mga kamag-anak ng ating kababayan na ito. Alright, at yan po ang buod ng pinakahuling balita buod sa bulwagang pambalitaan ng Barangay Terrier Radio. Okay. at sumunod na lang po tayo, ha? Sumunod na lang po tayo para masaya naman po tayo. At parang nakikinig si Jonah Paralejas. Congratulations pala kay Deacon Ken Dakulan on your new job. Congratulations. At ganun din po, nakikiramay po tayo sa ating BFF at kabarangay, si Grace De Verala, sa pagpanaw po ng kanyang ate, si Madam Lorna De Verala. Nakikiramay po tayo, okay? At okay, tuloy po natin. Sa ating mga kabarangay at mga kapinoy, just take one day at a time and just keep on staying alive. At sa pamamagitan po ng tugtugin na yan, nagpapaalam po muli ang inyong Chairman Fred at paumanhin nyo na po. Isang oras lang po ang ating palatuntunan. Maaari mang sumobra tayo, balit lang minuto lang po. Okay? At atin pong pag-aaralan kung matutularan po natin si Kapinoy na 2 oras bawat edition. Ha? Okay, mabuhay ka Kapinoy. Okay, yan. Anyway, abangan nyo po sa susunod na Miyerkules po. Sa Miyerkules ay sasamahan po natin si Ate G. Lagak Agustin sa kanyang programang Barkadan Forever sa Gippsland FM. Okay? At sa Webis po naman, balik na naman tayo sa ating Global Pinoy Show.